Welcome! Every big journey really does begin with just one small step. And today, we are taking that first super important step into professional development. We're going to dive right into the intro chapter of the McKinsey Forward program, which is all about building a solid foundation for your own growth. So let's just start right there with that question. Are you actually ready to start shaping your own professional path? Because look, this is all about you taking the wheel, not just sitting in the passenger seat of your own career.
So we're using the McKinsey Forward program as our guide here, but I want you to think of it less like a stuffy old course and more like a roadmap. A structured, intentional journey designed to help you build the skills you need to really thrive.
So what is it exactly? Well, it's a 10-week online program, and it's laser-focused on those essential professional skills. But here's the secret sauce. It's all about reflection and application. This isn't about memorizing stuff for a test. It's about fundamentally changing how you work by building new, lasting habits. And the best part? You're doing it with a whole global network of people on the same journey. Before you start any trip, you need to know where you're going, right? This part is all about figuring out your personal why. Seriously, knowing your goals and what truly motivates you, that's the fuel that's going to keep you going, especially when things get a little tough. Okay, let's make this personal for a second. I want you to really think, what are your main goals here? Are you aiming for a promotion? Maybe thinking about a career change? Or do you just want to be more confident and effective in the job you already have? Nailing down that answer is your North Star for this whole thing.
And hey, beyond just the practical stuff, what really gets you excited about this? Is it that thrill of finally mastering a challenge? Or maybe the idea of getting your ideas across with way more impact? Tapping into that excitement, that's a seriously powerful motivator.
So what does this skill toolkit actually look like? Well, the program zooms in on 5 critical areas. We're talking about things like, how do you tackle a huge complex problem? How do you bounce back when things don't go your way? How do you make sure people really hear you? These are the real, tangible skills we're aiming to build.
Okay, so to figure out how to get to where you're going, you first have to know where you are right now. This is where self-assessment becomes your absolute best friend. And don't think of it as a test. It's more like creating your own personal map.
So the whole process is about looking at specific behaviors. For example, how often do you actively look for ways to learn something new? Or when you're facing a big problem, do you break it down first? Answering these questions honestly gives you a super clear picture of your strengths, and maybe more importantly, where your biggest opportunities for growth are.
And really, that's the whole point. Self-awareness isn't about judging yourself, it's the foundation. It's the solid ground you need before you can build anything meaningful on top of it. You just can't build a skyscraper on shaky ground.
Okay, so you've got your destination, you know your starting point. Now, how do you actually get from A to B? Well, the answer is all about building powerful learning habits. These are the tools that are going to forge that path forward for you. First up, let's talk about a huge mindset shift. It's called setting a learning intention. Instead of just focusing on the goal, like, I will learn this skill, you switch your focus to the process, like, I will be curious about this material. It's a small change, but it makes learning so much more effective and, let's be honest, way more fun. Now for the mechanics of making it all happen. Every single habit, good or bad, follows this simple 3-step pattern called the habit loop. First, there's a cue, which is the trigger. Then there's the routine, which is the action itself. And finally, the reward, which is what tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's do it again. Understanding this loop is like getting the source code for your own behavior. It's the key to designing the habits you want. So let's actually apply this right now. Right now, what is one new habit you want to build? Let's say it's spending 15 minutes every morning learning something new. Your cue could be pouring your first cup of coffee. The routine is reading an article or watching a video. And the reward, that awesome feeling of making progress, or hey, even just checking it off your to-do list works. All right, we've covered a lot of ground just setting the stage. But honestly, the most important part is what happens next. Your journey of growth doesn't start tomorrow or next Monday, it starts right now. It starts with your very next choice. So what are your first steps? Well, it all starts with defining your why to keep you motivated. Then you get honest with yourself and reflect on your starting point. And from there, you use that simple but powerful habit loop to start building better behaviors. It all comes down to remembering that you are in the driver's seat of this journey. And that really brings us to this powerful idea from the great Peter Drucker. This journey isn't just about learning new skills. It's about learning to manage your own energy And that wraps up our look at the very first step on this journey forward. If this breakdown helped you out and gave you some clarity, do us a favor and support the channel by hitting that like button and subscribing for more deep dives. We'll see you on the next one.